Hello, my name is SMcDaniel, and I'm a senior at WM15 High School, and I decided to do my project on Alzheimer's disease. Why did I choose Alzheimer's disease? Because in 2014, 5.2 million Americans actually had this disease, and for it to be so common that we know very little about it. There's no cure. We don't know what causes it. We can't really prevent it. I just think it's a topic that many Americans we should look into and help find a cure for it. And then my research question was, how does social and physical stimulation affect individuals with Alzheimer's disease? Before I could answer that question, I had to do a little background history. And in 1906, a German physician, Alois Alzheimer, actually had a patient under his care for many years, and she struggled with memory loss. And as the years went on, she progressively got worse. And then upon her death, he actually did an autopsy on her body, and he went into the cranial cavity, and what he found was plaques and tangles in the brain. And plaques are a buildup of protein and fat deposits, and then the tangles are the nerve fiber actually twisting. And then, what is Alzheimer's disease? It's very often associated with memory loss, but also affects the individual's behavior, how they think about everything. And there are 7 stages to Alzheimer's disease. The first stage is the brain's affected, but the person isn't affected, they don't have memory loss yet. It's not until around late stage 3 and stage 4 that the individual actually becomes affected. They will forget simple things like where they put their keys, what they did yesterday, what they have to do tomorrow on their schedule. And then stage 6 and 7 is where it really affects them. They are no longer able to take care of themselves. They need assistance. They can't get up, walk by themselves. Very hard for them to speak thoughts that make sense. And these plaques and tangles in the brain actually cause cell death because the brain isn't getting the nutrition that's needed. So on this side, the brains are healthy, and then you can see the effects of the Alzheimer's disease actually causes it to shrink, and the cells that die are not regenerated. And then it doesn't only affect the brain in a physical sense, it also affects the centers. As you can see in the Alzheimer's brain, is much less than that of a normal brain. And then because of these signaling not being connected between the brain and your legs, people with Alzheimer's disease eventually are unable to walk. They're unable to move their muscles like they would like to. And after long periods of time of them not being able to use their muscle, they actually become constricted, which is where their body stays in one position for so long that it's stuck that way permanently. And then it doesn't only affect them in a physical manner, it affects them socially in the earlier stages when they are not completely helpless. It's hard for them to deal with that through depression. And then the causes of Alzheimer's disease, as I said, are still not known. Scientists and doctors have looked into it, and they have tried to link it to lack of exercise, poor diet, smoking, drinking, but there have been no connections made yet. And then the treatment options we have right now are there's invasive and evasive to the brain, and then there's also pills they can take, but these don't prevent Alzheimer's disease, nor do they don't prevent it or cause it to stop happening. It only prevents it from progressing as quickly. And then later in my research, I actually found out that blueberries can be used to prevent Alzheimer's disease. They're doing studies on it right now. Wild blueberries actually contain increased centers, and there was a study sugar pills given several cups of wild blueberry juice a day, and then of course the sugar group people didn't know. They thought they were given actual medicine, and then they were given a test before and after they were given the supplement, and the group that did the blueberries actually did much better than the sugar pill group, and they also did better in their last test than they did before. I found that very interesting. I actually did my internship in community service both at Westminster Canterbury at the Blue Ridge. It's an assisted living facility on Pantops Mountain, And I did my internship with Miss Norma Branham. She's a nurse practitioner. She graduated from JMU and then later went back to UVA to get specialized in geriatrics. Presentations each year on Alzheimer's disease, and that's why I chose her to be my mentor. And through her, I looked at many studies of Alzheimer's disease. We actually worked one-on-one with patients. We did like physical activities, and then we would see how they interacted afterwards and social. But she wasn't only worried about like my project as like Alzheimer's disease. I wished to go into the nursing field, so she wanted to give me like a holistic view of what it was like to be a nurse. I got to take vitals. I worked on with patients that actually don't have Alzheimer's disease at all, and it's very busy to be a nurse practitioner. She was running around the building the entire time. I had to chase after her, but it was a good experience. And I did my community service under the activities director at Westminster, Miss Neal, and I went to different units throughout Westminster for my community service. I did the VISTA unit, which is solely Alzheimer's patients. I did the healthcare floor, which has some Alzheimer's patients and others just who can't take care of themselves without assistance. And then I also went to the like catered living people who are still on their own for the most part. One man I spent a lot of time with through both my internship and community service is Mr. Goodseal. He's 82 years old and he's actually in stage 6 of Alzheimer's disease. He is unable to get himself out of bed in the mornings. He has to get the nurses to get him up. He is unable to control his bladder anymore, so has to be changed several times a day. He does not say much, and the things he's saying, as I said, don't make sense. And then I did many crafts with him. We did puzzles together, and then we actually sat down one day for Valentine's Day, his wife, a Valentine's Day card. I did most of the work, I cut it out, but he tried to sign it, and we gave it to her, and she loved it. She actually started crying, and that was really good for me that we could help her make her happy on Valentine's Day. And then here's Mr. Goodseal, and we did a puzzle together. Of course, he could not actually put the puzzle together, but what I thought was really interesting was that he would get the right colored pieces. Like, it wouldn't fit, but it would be like we'd be trying to do the green section, and he'd pick up a green piece and ask me if it would work. And then after our like things we did with my mentor, I expected him to like, I guess, be more vocal or things like that as like a reaction to the stimulation. What actually happened was he would just say things, like he would read a sign, which he never reads. But that was like an effect, I guess, of the stimulations that we were doing. And then Westminster held a fall festival in October, and I helped set up for it. I did, and then on the healthcare floor, I actually set up a little crafts with the residents there. And we set up hats because there was a competition, and on his hat we put together leaves and crows. We actually got first place in the little hat competition, which was exciting. And then for my reflection, if I would do anything differently, I would probably have gotten another mentor on top of Miss Norma, just so I would have an opportunity to experience this outside of a nursing home and see how they handle it in other places. It was very difficult for me to like take pictures with the residents, which was another challenge because of HIPAA violations. So I actually had to get written consent to take pictures of him from his wife. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I plan on going to VCU next fall and pursuing it. But I don't think I want to go into geriatrics. I'm not sure what I want to do yet because it's so big. If I would have any advice for upcoming Burbank seniors, I'd probably say use the resources that you're given because you're given a lot. Like in the beginning of the year, we went to the UVA library, which is great because I got a lot of my resources there. And like, just don't blow it off. Actually, like, look for resources. And then Miss Newman gave us a lot of time in class to work on journals and just work on our paper. Like, we shut down class, which is really great. So that gives you time to basically do your entire paper. So I would just take advantage of that. And are there any questions?
Dan, can you go a little more in depth into your research, your question, what you found in research?
So what I wanted to look was the physical and social stimulation. We looked at many, so like a correlation that individuals with physical and social stimulation like works their brainwaves, I guess, the signaling. So they were supposed to like interact better afterwards. With Miss Norma, we would do like puzzles and we would hold up cards with like residents had Alzheimer's disease as like social stimulation to see how they would react. And we also would do like exercises like get weights and move their arms and stuff like that. And I was expecting like, I don't know, a bigger outcome, like, because in the studies they were saying like they reacted differently afterwards. So I was expecting to act differently, but it wasn't like a big difference. It was just like the little things like reading signs, like the fire alarm. He did fire, or like we'd be leaving the floor because we did that often. Because they're always stuck on the floor because not many of them get visitors. And so we would leave the floor, and he would like see the elevator number, and it'd be like 1 and stuff like that, which I thought was cool.
Does Westman Canterbury track any data in relation to the strategies that they're using with Alzheimer's? I'm just curious.
I'm not sure. I know Miss Norma does. She keeps records of all the patients.
As I enter my 40s, how can I differentiate between normal memory loss with age and pre-Alzheimer's?
If it becomes more common and you're forgetting everything, and then if you forget to like, when it gets more extreme, forgetting people you know, like forgetting names and stuff like that, not just like forgetting your keys, like occasionally, it's occurring more common, more frequently.
He was having panic.
Did you repeat that? I don't remember.
Well, sort of building on that, I mean, it seems like it's very difficult for people, particularly for families or the individual, to know there's got to be sort of a zone where they are forgetful, but they still know things, and when they don't, and so is that a frequent kind of thing? Is that really an identifiable period of time, or is it more of a guess?
I think it's more of a guess because in the earlier stages, like your brain's affected, but you're not really affected. It's not till later, everything hits you all at once, basically, that you would forget your keys, and then like, I'm not sure, like it depends how quickly it progresses, but months later, then you start to forget like people yesterday, like an hour ago.
So is the diagnosis only really can be made after you've had sort of a brain scan?
Mm-hmm. That they look for the plaques and tangles that build up in the brain.
Okay, so Shannon, if you're the head nurse practitioner at a place like Westminster Canterbury, what kinds of things would you instill as part of the routine there that might help stave off some of these Alzheimer's?
I would definitely, they encourage like volunteer groups. I would definitely keep encouraging that and like have visitors up there. Also a big thing that I talked about was like constriction, where they become permanently like in that position. And they actually don't do that up there. They don't do range of motion exercises, is what it's called. And I would make that like necessary because many of them up there are getting older and are getting Alzheimer's disease, and they are becoming constricted. And I would focus on that.
Thank you, Shannon.
Has there been any research about pets in nursing homes with Alzheimer's patients? Interaction with animals. I saw an article about.
I didn't do any research on it, but actually for Halloween, I brought up my cousin's dog in a bumblebee costume. It was a husky. I wish I would have got a picture, but the residents up there loved it. I don't know how it affects them, but they enjoyed it.